Welcome, everyone. We're going to start the meeting, the special county board meeting. Thank you all for coming tonight. Chairman McIntyre is on well-deserved vacation, I guess, to see his family in Florida and asked me to chair tonight. So the first item is a call to order, and then we have the invocation or moment of silence by Member Metzger.
And bow our heads in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for all your blessings and all the gifts that you have bestowed upon all the members of this board and our entire county and all of the employees. And we ask that you continue to look over us and to help us bring wisdom, or give us the wisdom and knowledge to make the decisions that will keep our county running in the best way for all of the people in our county. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, Miss Morlock, could you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Beverly Bell. Here. Lindsay Bloomfield. Absent. Sharon Chung.
Present.
Leah Klein.
Present.
Chuck Erickson.
Present.
William John Friedrich.
Present.
Elizabeth Johnston.
Present.
Val Lehman. Absent. Randall Martin.
Present.
Catherine Metzger.
Present.
Jim Rogal.
Present.
Susan Schaefer.
Here.
James Soldner.
Here.
Gerald Thompson. Absent. Shana Wachinski.
Here.
George Wendt. Absent. Josh Barnett.
Present.
Hannah Beer. Absent. John McIntyre. Absent.
Okay, what's that?
You have 13 present, 6 absent.
Okay,
Quorum.
we have enough for a quorum, so we will move on. Any appearance of members by the public?
No, Vice Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. We have one item tonight on our consent agenda, and it's dealing with something was on consent agenda at our other meeting last week. It's Finance Committee, and I will turn it over to Finance Chairman Metzger.
Thank you, Vice Chair Solner. 6A1A, and that is request approval of the proposed insurance program for policy year 2022. And the Finance Committee voted to retain Gallagher as our broker and to proceed with the recommendation and the proposal that they provided to us. And I so move.
Second by Member Friedrich. All right, turn it back over to you.
Does anybody, yes, go ahead, Member Barnett. This is on consent, so I'm not sure if we need to take it off consent, do we?
Well, I was just going to ask, don't we need to have this removed from the consent agenda? Are we allowed to have debate and discussion on something?
I
that's
don't
on
think
the
we
consent
are.
agenda?
That's what I was thinking. If we're going to have a discussion, we have to take it off consent.
That's correct.
All right, would someone like to make that motion? Member Klein, second Member Rogal to take this off consent. Any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, back then to Member Metzger.
I think you'll go ahead and proceed and answer questions or select our members who have questions, and we'll answer them accordingly.
Okay, is anyone have a question? You'll have to excuse me, I have turned my head quite a ways to see everyone. So, uh, any questions? Member Metzger, you want to give any explanation?
No, I think, as I said before, we had the discussion, or we had presentations from the Illinois Counties Risk Management Trust, and then also our broker Gallagher brought, and they both had 10 minutes to do their presentations. They did presentations, answered all questions, and it was a unanimous vote to retain Gallagher. I would say, if I could summarize it, the most comprehensive program we felt was our current, um, and it had a lot to do with the fact that we are wanting an occurrence type program versus a claims made. And so we, we recommended to retain Gallagher.
Excuse me, I learned a lot sitting through the finance committee as far as the difference between a claims made and an occurrence type of policy. And I would ask maybe Mr. Spanos if he could just explain that really quickly.
Sure. So a claims-made policy refers to, during the policy period, if a claim is made, that policy covers that claim. An occurrence policy is one that covers a claim that occurs or rises out of an occurrence that happened during that policy period. So if, let's say, last year you had an occurrence policy and 3 or 4 years down the road you have a claim come up, the policy that covers that would be the occurrence policy that you had last year. If you had a claims made policy last year and the claim doesn't come up for several years, then that policy wouldn't cover it. It would be the policy that you have if you still have claims made. If you, in the interim, change to an occurrence policy, then you have a potential gap in coverage, a likely gap in coverage, unless you've purchased a tail, and the tail basically covers that period of time in between. So, yeah.
Member Johnston?
Yes, just as a quick follow-up, you had mentioned in the finance meeting to the expense of it. And so when we're comparing these two programs, if we're looking to have that kind of coverage for a previous claim, the cost is not included in this. If we wanted to have that separate coverage for potentially past claims, we would have to buy extra, and that would add to the cost. Is that correct?
I don't think we could go today and purchase a policy and say, just in case we had something we missed. I don't know that we necessarily need to do that today. The way we're set up and the way we've gone from year to year, and like Mr. Sluska said in the meeting, we've been with Gallagher now for at least 20 years. So I think we're pretty safe over the last 20 years that wouldn't be an issue. The issue happens if you make a change.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If we had switched the cost savings, we may not have had it once we added in that, what'd you call it, a tails policy?
Right,
So just wanted to
right,
clarify that.
right.
Yeah.
Potentially, sure.
So for that kind of protection, we wouldn't have been covered for this cost.
Member Chung?
Yes, thank you. I guess I've spoken with other members on the finance committee just to get a little background on this and how this all kind of came. So, so my understanding was that we were looking to renew this package from Gallagher, but there's a big cost increase in this past year. Was that my understanding?
Member Metzger, go ahead.
Go ahead, I think it's.
Oh, okay.
There was a sizable increase over the last couple of years. If you remember last year, when we renewed, it was a much bigger increase last year. But there are reasons for that, and I can go into them a little bit if you like. But one of the main reasons this year that we saw an increase is the general liability carrier that we had last year, if I remember correctly, left the market. And it had underbid itself to get that business in the first place, and apparently now is no longer offering that coverage. So we had to go back with another little bit more expensive coverage. So yeah, there is an increase. There have been increases the last several years that are fairly significant.
No, well, thank you so much. I just kind of wanted to clarify that background. Thank you.
Any other questions? One thing I will mention that, again, when we say that the Gallagher Group has been our insurance people for 20 years, it's not that, you know, when you hear that, you think, well, it's time to change. He's our broker, and so every year they look at a number of different agencies and different insurance groups to find the best one, the most uh, financially responsible, and the one that does the best for the county. So it's not a case where, you know, we're just paying the same people year after year after year. They do look and find the best ones for us. So I wanted to clear that up too. So, any other questions? Okay, there's no reason to drag it on. I guess we're ready for a vote then. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, motion carries unanimously. All right. Let's see, next item is 7A1, County Administrator, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Solner. I have no items to be presented for action, but I do have an item to be presented for information, if I may proceed.
Go ahead.
Very good. I would ask Bob Common to come up to the podium with me, please. So in November of last year, our very own Bob Common received the 2021 County Official of the Year Award. And that, just to give you some perspective, is the highest honor to be bestowed upon an official serving in the county of Illinois, as a county official in Illinois, excuse me. This set off a series of congratulations from around the state to our esteemed colleague and a longtime employee of McLean County. That award is just one tribute to the example that Bob has set as an official in McLean County. And I am here today to offer another. Bob has decided to retire, and we reluctantly agreed. And so, Bob, it has been an honor and a privilege. I thank you for sharing your insights and all of your knowledge with all of us. That includes administration, your team in the assessor's office, as well as your fellow colleagues around the state. Your contributions to the county will be remembered. And so with that, I present, in recognition of Robert Common, for 24 years of service to the citizens of McLean County as Supervisor of Assessment from March 2nd of 1998 to February 22nd, 2022. On behalf of the citizens of McLean County, the McLean County Board expresses appreciation and gratitude for your years of dedicated service, your accomplishments, and your contributions to the services offered to improve the quality of life for all citizens of McLean County. Presented this 15th day of February 2022. And there's your official copy. Thank you. Bring Jane up.
That's sweet. Oh, I cried when I got my last one. That's true, I did. I want to thank all of you, and if you bear with somebody who, I was 42 when I got here, and I'm 66 and a half right now. So I look back, and I'm happy to see so many young faces. Not that my older friends are a problem, but I think of all the people on the board when I got here, and so many of them that are gone, and I apologize that I don't know some of you. It's just time happens, you know, so that old gang of mine kind of has gone, and I'm going with them. I'm not going where some of them went. Not yet. But, but it's been a great experience. I inherited an office that was in terrible, terrible, terrible shape, and that happens. So much so that John Zunick, the administrator at that time, actually called me at about 7:30 at night on a Sunday night to ask if I was interested in the job or coming to interview. And Sunday night, 7:30, I was sitting in the basement. We had 5 little children, mostly little. And I was watching football while they were doing God knows what upstairs. And Jane was probably getting them ready for bath and bed. So I thought, wow, why would a guy call at this time? And I think he was vetting me because they needed somebody to come in that would be stable. So after 24 years, I'm going to say I must have been pretty stable. It worked well. My children grew up here. McLean County to me was a dark and forbidding place in the winter and a lovely place in the summer. And I've been here long enough now, basically a quarter century, that summer, winter, fall, spring, I love living here and I love serving here. And just the last thing I'll say is, well, first I got to say thank you to my wife, Jane, who made it possible for me to spend those. I estimated my first 5 years, I spent 70 hours a week here. That was old AS400, COBOL, a line printer. I was watching the line printer print out on the 7th floor of the LJC when the second plane hit the World Trade Center, because they always had a TV going in case there were storms coming. But that's how we used to do business, and now we do it completely different. And we've done a wonderful job getting there. So I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity. And that last thing I wanted to say was, so when I started that day 24 years ago, I was quoted by Bob Holliday, the then Pantagraph reporter, as saying that the citizens of McLean County were my boss. Not you guys, not the administrator, nobody. The citizens were my boss. Well, a fellow was so impressed by that he cut it out of the paper and put it up on his cube wall. 10 years later, he came in to see me, and he asked me a whole load of questions. And when he finally got done, he opened a thing and he pulled that out and he said, you were true to exactly what you said is true. You're acting like I'm your boss. And I feel real proud of that, and I think we do a great job of, nobody likes their property tax, but they are fair and they are equitable in McLean County. So I think I did my job and it's time to retire. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we're down to number 8. Are there any appearances by the public for something not on the agenda?
No, there are not.
All right, lastly, number 9, any other business or communication? Does any member have anything? Okay, if not, anything from administration? Okay, with that, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next month.